OSU great, CBS sports caster extraordinaire, Clark Kellogg joins us. Clark, how many fingers does it take to count all your triple doubles in the bigs?
None. hey, Joe, I had a bunch of double-doubles, but triple-doubles, I didn't quite get there.
That's a hard thing, dude. I mean, you played at such a high level for so long. That kind of blows me away. Double-doubles, yes. Triple-doubles, no. Hey, anyway, Clark, I tell you, with the Final Four in focus, I just got to know your take because the tournament just was so chalk for so long. Higher seed win, higher seed win, higher seed wins. And then the Final Four, you've got a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 5. That just kind of was a monkey wrench in this thing.
Yeah, it did, but that's the nature of the tournament. It always delivers. You know there are going to be some surprises. The way Auburn has gotten here has been really surprising in terms of how hot they were in the SEC tournament, continued that hot streak, and I didn't think they'd be able to beat Kentucky the way they did. I thought they would still have to play the windshield wiper game, up and down, forcing turnovers, making threes, and instead they go into overtime tied at 60 and then kind of explode in that extra 5 minutes for 17 points and win that game. But obviously all 4 teams deserving to be here.
Yeah, Clark, all the games last weekend were, a flip of the coin. I mean, they all went down to the wire. What are you expecting? I mean, you got Auburn, Virginia, Texas Tech, Michigan State, more of the same? Do you see like one possession kind of potentially overtime kind of games in the Final Four?
Well, Matt, it's hard to predict that, but I do think the games will be very competitive. I mean, you look at Michigan State, Texas Tech, both are excellent defensive teams. Points will be hard to come by. Michigan State has probably been as surprising in what it's overcome and how they've continued just to win over the last 2 months because they've dealt with injuries to key personnel all season long, but just continue to find a way. And Cassius Winston has been absolutely magnificent. All season long he's been consistent. He's risen to the occasion of big moments pretty much without fail. And I think that'll be the key. Those guards for Texas Tech are long and physical. Can they contain and bottle up Cassius Winston? That'll be the matchup that I'll have my isolated camera on pretty much most of that game.
Yeah, Cassius is fun to watch, too, because even when they go to timeout, he's like petting Coach Izzo on the chest, like, almost like, calm down, Coach, I got this, we're good.
Oh, it's amazing. There was that major blow-up about how Tom Izzo confronted Aaron Henry as he had perhaps missed an assignment or made a mistake. But that's born out of relationship and trust both ways. And those guys, the players actually have liberty to go back at Coach Izzo. And that's the way they understand their relationship. That's the way they've developed it. So it was really a brouhaha about nothing in regards to what the foundation of that emotional interaction and outburst was. And I know that it goes both ways. And it's from a place of caring and trust and confidence in one another. And that's family having a fairly public squabble in an emotional setting that ultimately did far more good than harm.
Clark, as I look at this, you could make a case for all 4 of these teams being the one that are cutting down the nets. Sure. Auburn's, as you mentioned, as hot as anybody. Virginia's the 1 seed that made it through. Yep. Texas Tech's playing great. Michigan State as tough as it comes. Do you have a favorite going into this as you look at these 4 teams?
I really don't. Just from a story standpoint, I think it would be really intriguing. It would be really quite remarkable to see the bookend of what Virginia encountered and experienced last year to possibly win a championship this year. I mean, just getting to the Final Four after the ignominy of the first team, number 1 seeded, to go down to a 16, and in the manner in which they lost, is fascinating to me. I know that's driving this team. They've dealt with it and talked about it a lot, but they've kind of put it to rest. But I know as a competitor, something like that happens, you want to make amends. So that's driving them. Michigan State, obviously the only team and program in the field that's won a national title. They've got 2 first-timers and Coach Tony Bennett, Coach Chris Beard, and Coach Bruce Pearl. A lot of great storylines. But I would probably lean towards Virginia, Michigan State, 1-1A on the favorite line, depending on how you feel. I mean, you could flip those 2. I would think, obviously, they would be the 2 favorites.
Yeah, you've talked, Clark, about the guard play from Cassius, but that's the thing. When you watch Michigan State, it's easy to get dazzled by him, but their bigs are so strong, and especially getting back on defense. That's to me, that's the piece of their puzzle that really makes that team tough.
Oh, great point, Joe. You're exactly right. They're excellent. I mean, both of these teams, Texas Tech and Michigan State, are tremendous defensively. Auburn does it a little differently. Virginia does it differently. But those two teams and the tough-mindedness that they've shown, Texas Tech and Michigan State, obviously the other as well. But those two teams, that's going to be a real fight. The point guard matchups and also the toughness. Which team is going to be able to crack the will of the other? And it may not be that. It may be simply that you come up with one or two more key plays than the opponent, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's how that Michigan State-Texas Tech game plays out.
I got to ask you, Clark, Big Ten hasn't won a national title since 2000. Obviously, Michigan State's got an opportunity here. But as a whole, did they prove themselves in this tournament to be the best conference in college basketball this year?
You know what? I don't know if I rate conferences based on how you fare in the tournament. It's all about matchups in the tournament. I look at how strong is your top, how strong is your middle, and how strong is your bottom as you go through your non-conference schedule. And then obviously you look at tournament success. But I don't think that's the only barometer for how good your league is. Clearly the Big Ten proved itself with the number of teams that got into the tournament, how they fared, but also what they did in the non-conference of the regular season. So I don't think there's any question. Top, middle, and bottom, the Big Ten was, to me, the best conference. Now, if you talk top and middle, you might have an argument for the ACC, but the bottom of the Big Ten was really strong, and it was competitive throughout. So I have no problem with the Big Ten being one or two on most lists in terms of conference strength.
Right there, Clark. I wish we had more time. We got a jet, but we're going to be watching. Keep Barkley at arm's length and have fun.
I will do that. I can control both of those.
Great stuff, Clark. Thanks very much for the time. That's Clark Kellogg on the Final Four.